There's a brother by the name of Benjamin Watson, NFL player, and he was on Laura Ingraham's show on Fox News. Now, really, I don't cover too much Fox News, but it was something that in this particular video that bothered Laura that we wanted to discuss, because y'all are talking about Jay-Z and power move. No, I want you to hear exactly what this brother is going to state, what is a true power move for the black community. Let's go ahead and roll this clip.
To the story we covered last week, where former ESPN anchor Jemele Hill created kind of stir with a piece in the Atlantic where she argued that black athletes should stop attending white majority colleges. What's your reaction to this?
Well, I read the article, and when I saw the uproar over it, I read the article, and I agree with her. She had some great points in that article. When you look at the history of HBCUs and you look at the hundreds of thousands of black professionals that have come from these schools over the course of the last several years since they've been created, and you look at what's been lost since integration has happened, what she was saying was simply that athletics is a multi-billion-dollar business. I went to two historically white universities, Duke University and University of Georgia, that have a lot of money based on athletics. What she was saying that, look, we're living in a time where there's a big racial wealth gap. The average white family has a net income, a net worth that's 10 times that of a black family. And so if we're able to have some of these athletes that create so much income go to some of these schools, not that white students don't go and students of other ethnicities don't go. We live in a time where everybody can go wherever they want to. But what she was saying simply, if we're trying to pump money and revenue into some of these communities, that there's still this big disparity, this may be a way to do it. Obviously, that's in a vacuum. Yeah. There are other factors to figure into that. But when you read her argument, look, she lays it out very, very cleanly, and it's actually something that I agree with.
All right, Benjamin. Well, I think that Duke would have not been thrilled about your not being there, but we'll leave it at that. I mean, the college sports would certainly be a lot different today if we went down a color-coded way of figuring out college admissions. I mean, that's resegregating the country. Why do we want that?
Well, no, because segregation, as you know, is government mandated.
Yeah, I get it.
This is not segregation. Yeah. This is if you read the article and see what
I read the article. I read the article. All right, we got to go.
Now, did you see Laura's face? How she say, well, wait a minute. I mean, isn't that like segregation all over again? See, one thing Laura knows, and most people like her in America, is they know that a lot of the money coming to them go through black people. They understand that. And they don't want black people to take their own economic freedom in their own hands. Understand that. Sports carry the majority of the PWIs. What I mean by that is predominantly white institutions. You would think it would be a no-brainer for all our great and talented athletes to go to the historically black colleges and universities. You would think that would be a no-brainer, but it's not. Now, I'm going to tell you why more of our top athletes go to PWIs versus HBCUs. Scholarships. It's not the facility, it's not the stadiums, it's the scholarships. The HBCUs is going to have to sit down and start looking for scholarships to offer to our young men and our young women to go. It's different than PWIs. It's just the scholarships. If you have to create ways to raise money, if you have to raise cost a little bit, something to fund these scholarships. But that is the big difference. They go chase these young men and young women in our community. They'll fly them out. There's one brother I know very, very well. They flew him, his mom, and his dad out. And it was the University of Miami. They put them up at the Ritz-Carlton, and so their son could be at the University of Miami, and flew them back, fed them, whatever they wanted to do. They took care of them. They do all that to try to get black talent into their schools, because that football program, that basketball program pays for all those other sports, black talent. The other sports don't generate the money like football and basketball will generate, for sure. Now, we talk about the wealth gap, but let's call it what it is. Black folks, we talking about today, help continue the wealth gap they have with whites. No, seriously. You can actually close that wealth gap if you change your spending habits. that wealth gap would literally start to collapse. What if you say, you know what? Let's take our greatest talent, young brothers and young sisters, go to the HBCUs. What would happen after that? If all the great talent in our community would go to the HBCUs, then all these great brothers and sisters that are playing in universities, they would have to go to the HBCU games because that's where all the talented players would be at. And so those conferences would be the place to be. Those schools would bring in so much money from those sports that they can give more and more scholarships and get up to the levels of the PWIs with that. You understand? We go spend all kind of money with Nike. We spend money with all these different companies, but we don't bring the money back home to the black communities. We assist in our own destruction. We do, in our spending habits. If we really are serious about that, you can literally start your own reparations by changing spending. And that's one way of doing it. You saw how just the idea of that, Laura Ingraham was like, oh, hold on now. That's our reaction. No. We're not going to take no money out of the white community and put it where it belongs in the black community when it's the black community's talent. This country has always ran off of the benefit of black folk, male and female. And they do not ever want you to take your talent and your giftings and apply it to your own community. And unfortunately, some of us is so sick-minded that we wouldn't even think about doing something like that. It's so bad that it's like revolutionary to do something that every other group do, support their own. Other groups don't have to sit up there and say support their businesses. Other groups don't have to make appeals to, do this and do that. They don't have to do that. But us, we feel like if it's not white validation, it's nothing. When it comes to our spending, when it comes to how we speak, how we dress, everything, it has to be their validation. If we take our own talents and take those talents and apply them to the black community, we wouldn't be worrying about financial issues. Think about the billions of dollars that the NCAA make off of young black men and young black women. Look at all the billions the NFL make off of black men. 75% of the league is black men. What if they wise up one day and say, man, we ain't playing with them. We're going to create our own league. The NFL will collapse. If the brothers in the NBA will say, I'm not playing here no more, we're going to create our own league, the NBA will collapse. You understand that? What bothers me the most about black America is that you hold the key to your own destiny. You don't need no liberal politician to come in and save you. You don't need somebody to come up with some great idea. All it takes is a few decisions, and overnight, literally, your walk in America financially would change. It would change. And you would get ahead, actually, even of the Asian community. If you make that change, because the Asian community about make the most, your situation would change. You are funneling all your money to every other group, and they living hog to hog off of you. Everybody, immigrants that come into this country, even come to the black community, the Koreans and all the different Asian groups. You have the Arabs, the Indians, all these people come to the black community making all kind of money. And then we get upset and say, well, they doing this, they doing that. But at the end of the day, we could collectively make a decision to say that's over with. That's done. We ain't got to get mad. We ain't got to throw no rocks. We ain't got to riot. We ain't got to do none of that. We can say it is done this day. We're going to make sure every dollar stays in the black community, period, because our children need things. How is it that we sit up here and send everybody else's kids to Ivy League schools or private schools and everything else, and yet our kids are in struggling schools dealing with racist teachers and race soldiers? When we can create our own schools and we had the capital to do so. And we do have it. That's the thing. Some of us rather go to a nail salon getting punched in the face, but still giving those people money. That's my greatest frustration of black America. Trust me, I wish I had control of black America. They would do everything that I say, because give me 7 days and watch how black America would change. In literally 7 days. They'd be like, what happened to those black people? They're not acting the same anymore. No, we wouldn't be acting the same. Everything that we are part of, we would control. Music, we would control our music. Hollywood, we wouldn't be part of that. We create our own Hollywood. We don't need that no more. We can do our own. Sports, we can do that on our own. Everything we can do on our own. We are making money for everybody. Everybody but us. And that's what Jemele Hill was saying in the article. That's what this brother was saying to Laura Ingraham. And you saw the fear. You saw her concerned. That is the concern. The day that you wake up, because as long as you're asleep, everybody's happy. If you put aside self-hate, because as I talked about, the racist seeing the red eyes like the bull when they look at you, unfortunately, you look at you like that too. A lot of us do. You see somebody black and you're ready to just attack. Male, female, it don't matter. You hold the key to your own destiny. Everybody fought and died for us previously, and we literally can do what they couldn't do. They was organized. You ain't got to organize no more. You can just say, hey, look, this is what we're going to do. We're going to open up nail shops. We're going to open up this. We're going to open up that, and just go with it. And then when we open it, we be professional. We start on time. We don't overbook and double book. We don't have our kids in a business where we're located making all kind of noise. The same thing you expect from somebody else's business, that's what we would do as well. Good customer service is something that you always should strive for. But we can change ourselves. That's why I get frustrated, because I know the potential. I see it. And yet we don't want to move. I get tired of hearing us saying about wealth gap and this and that and the third, when you can change the wealth gap today, tomorrow, next week. You could change it. Literally, you continue in the wealth gap form by your spending and what you do. You understand? But I think that is a good thing to start doing. Let's start that movement. Send our kids to the HBCUs. Let their football program be great. Let their basketball program, track program, and every other program be great. Let it. And you know what happened? If all the black talent start going to the HBCUs, then everyone else start going to the HBCUs with us. Trust me, wherever we at, people gonna follow. I promise you that. They'll start going to the games, then all of a sudden the HBCUs won't be HBCUs anymore, because everybody be trying to get into it, because that's where black people are at. I'm telling you, it's nowhere we can't go where everybody won't follow. I know what I'm telling you on that. But just put it to the test. Watch how things would change. All these so-called prestigious PWIs will be done overnight. If they had to depend on just tuition and that's it, no, they wouldn't make it. All the money they make off of merchandising, all the money they make off of television time, all the things they make is all off of the majority of black talent. Please recognize the jewel of what we are and who we are in America. If we can just be a jewel to ourselves, trust me, we wouldn't be talking about any kind of wealth gap or anything else. But leave me a comment, let me know what you think about this particular story, but we should change that, seriously. And if we're not going to change it, then we need to stop complaining, because we are the ones that can solve all these problems for ourselves right now.